Hello, this is Joe from Nerd in Korea. We are starting our budget interesting commanders 9, the red color identity now. We've done white, blue, and green so far. So if you want to check those ones out, go ahead. So what is this series about? These videos are meant to give ideas for good commanders that are available on a budget. I am focusing on commanders that use niche mechanics and are highly abusable. So I want to focus on commanders that have really interesting mechanics. Maybe not that are just really good commanders. What I'm looking for is like they're able to kind of abuse mechanics really well. This video features commanders with the red color identity, not necessarily mono red. Yeah, this is red color identity. It can include other colors, but they are all have red as like I think a fairly primary color, but it's somewhat subjective. So yeah. By budget, I mean $2 or less, and I'm using the TCG market value, which is not a sponsor, I should always say. Number 5. Balluna Grand Squall. She is Teamer, which is green, blue, red, and costs 17 cents. She's an adventure commander. So again, she does basically all adventures are kind of like 2 spells on 1 card, a non-permanent and a permanent. So yeah, here we go. She has an instant mill 7 cards, then put all cards that have an adventure from among the milled cards into your hand. So that's quite a good tutor actually. It's I guess not a tutor, but like kind of not scry, but pseudo scry, pseudo card, or it is card draw, I guess. But anyway. It's kind of hard to, I'm sure there is a correct term, I just don't know it off the top of my head. And yeah, when you cast her, she has Trample, a 4/4 with Trample, which isn't bad. Permanent spells you cast that have an adventure cost 1 less to cast. So the permanent costs 1 less, right? The permanent, not the adventure part. I think that's one important thing to point out. Yeah, I guess I called it a limited tutor effect, but yeah. And cost reduction for other, adventure spells, but it has to be the permanent part, right? So yeah, kind of half of it gets reduced. Okay, there are a whole lot of great adventure spells. I like adventure in general just because it gives you can just play it as a permanent if you want. Or you can play it from exile as well. You can cast the non-permanent first. It gives you options, and options are just like the best thing to have. Anywho, Scalding Viper, Steam Clean, return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Basically unsummon for 1 extra, so maybe that's not great, but whenever an opponent casts a spell with mana value 3 or less, Scalding Viper deals 1 damage to that player. The most common mana costs are 2 and 3, right? Some strange decks will have higher mana costs. Usually they're in that 2 and 3 range, so they're going to be taking a lot of damage from this. Chancellor of Tales. Whenever you cast an adventure spell, you may copy it and choose no new targets for the copy. So that gets pretty amazing pretty quickly, right? Steam Clean on its own is kind of like a more expensive unsummon, but if Chancellor of Tales is out and you cast this, you're unsummoning 2 things. That's actually better, right? Finally, Doc Orok. Spells you cast from exile cost 2 less to cast. We only care about this part of it for this commander, but yeah. The cost reduction, you can just kind of keep stacking up the cost reduction, and that really adds up quickly. Anyway, Scalding Viper 49 cents, Chancellor of Tales 35 cents, Doc Orok 35 cents. A lot of stuff in this today costs 35 cents. I think it's the magic number today. Number 4. Yusri, Fortune's Flame. So this is a coin toss commander. Many coin toss effects actually don't have downsides. I think a lot of the original or earlier ones, the coin toss would be like a downside or an upside. Now the downside is usually it just doesn't work, which is a fairly bad downside, but anyway. Whenever he attacks, choose a number between 1 and 5, flip that many coins. For each flip you win, draw a card. For each flip you lose, he deals 2 damage to you. If you won 5 flips this way, flips this way, you may cast a spell from your hand this turn without paying its mana cost. There's unfortunately limited things that give you extra coin tosses. Crack's Thumb, I'm not sure how to say his name, will let you flip 2 coins instead of just 1 and choose 1. So it kind of improves your odds from 50-50 to like 75-25, I guess, but yeah. Anyway, that is 11 cents. Chance Encounter. Alright, so whenever you flip a coin, put a luck counter on it at the beginning of your upkeep. It has 10 or more luck counters on it, you win the game. So if this is out, flip 10 coins, then the beginning of your next upkeep, just win. 49-cent win con is pretty good. It is 2 and 2 red for an enchantment. And then Stitch in Time. This is actually, I think this is going to be one of my pet cards. Anyway, flip a coin. If you win the flip, take an extra turn after this one. Whoa. That's actually really good, especially if you can like copy it, which Izzet is good at. You can probably get a whole bunch of extra turns, which is probably the most powerful effect any card can have. Anyway, 49 cents as well. Sorry, Chance Encounters, 49 cents. Fiery Gambit. Flip a coin until you lose the flip or stop flipping. So again, you kind of choose when to stop flipping, which is, well, so if you win 1 or more, it deals 3 damage to target creature. If you win 2 or more, it deals 6 damage to each opponent. If you win 3 or more, draw 9 cards, untap all your lands. This is basically like an extra turn. Like it's just giving you a pile of cards and untapping all your land. So you can almost just like start your turn over. It's not really an extra turn, but it has almost better effect than an extra turn in some cases, I think. Anyway, $1.99 for that one. Number 3. Ryu Storm's Edge. Okay, this is a flexible Kindred commander, which this list actually has 2 of. So maybe built around samurai or warriors, or likely both. And so, whenever a samurai or warrior attacks alone, untap it. If it's the first combat phase this turn, there is an additional combat phase. Extra combat phases is just very, very, very good. This also synergizes really well with Boros. If you're doing some kind of Boros equipment deck or something like that, a lot of times you do only have the 1 card you really want to send in, so this is not really much of a downside even, and you can get a lot of upsides out of it. So anyway, 2 and a red and a white for a 3/3, and that's 15 cents. Okay, Astar, Bearer of Blades is 2 red white. So when he enters the battlefield, look at the top 7 cards of your library. You may reveal an equipment or vehicle card from it and put it into your hand. Equipment you control has equip 1. Vehicles you control have crew 1. Actually a lot of flexibility there too, right? I would be looking at equipment for this commander. It makes equipment very, very low cost to equip. A lot of the limitation on many equipment is that it gives a very high equip cost for a good effect. Like Colossus Hammer, if you do equip 1 for that, that's just a whole pile of extra damage. If you're trying to do like commander damage or something, makes it pretty doable. And here we have Norika Yamazaki, the Poet. Whenever a samurai warrior you control attacks alone, you may cast target enchantment from your graveyard this turn. Countering removal on things like enchantments is just very, very good. They're a pain in the butt to get off the battlefield if you can just throw them back on the battlefield right away. I think a lot of people if they see you do it once, they'll go, oh, okay, I just won't even bother, using target removal on this person's enchantments because they're just going to put it back out. It's kind of like pseudo protection in a way, but anyway. Oh, right, sorry. Aster Bearer Blades is 49 cents and Norika is 35 cents. Finally, we got Goro Goro, Disciple of Rusei, for 1 in red, and that's 149. Creatures you control gain haste until end of turn for 1 mana. This is very, very good because you do want to be able to send that 1 in. If you can cast it and just pay the 1 red, send it in right away. That just like is a very, very good, especially if you're able to like load up a bunch of equipment on it and send it in immediately. And create a 5/5 red Dragon Spirit creature token with flying. Activate only if you control an attacking modified creature. So again, very high synergy with Boros and equipment, right? Getting that 5/5 flyer, just very good. And the condition is very kind of what you'll be doing as your main game plan in this with this deck. Anyway, just yeah, all synergy. Number 2, the Archimandrite. I think I said it right. So, okay, he is 2 and Jeskai, which is blue, red, white, for a 0/5. Alright, he costs 23 cents. At the beginning of your upkeep, you gain X life, where X is the number of cards in your hand minus 4. So again, you want lots of card draw with him. Whenever you gain life, each artificer, advisor, or monk you control gains vigilance and gets plus X plus 0 until end of turn, where X is the amount of life you gained. Tap 3, untap advisors, artificers, and or monks, draw a card. So the card draw is really amazing. You wait until the player before you, they're right on their end step, and you just tap all your creatures, right? And you draw cards off of that. Hopefully you've got multiples of 3, and then you can just draw a bunch of cards. But anyway, even like 1 or 2 extra card draw in a turn is a lot. I think people don't really appreciate it, but it's like over the game, an ability like this will probably outweigh a lot of like big card draw engine things, because the big card draw engine cards, I guess I shouldn't call them card draw engine. The big card draw cards will work like a few times, or maybe for like a turn, and probably get destroyed. This is just like it's on your commander, so you're gonna, even if it gets destroyed, you're bringing it back. Okay, so for this this one, I'm actually going to focus on monks because it is so very flexible. Advisors, artificers, and monks are kind of like 3 entirely different play strategies. Monk, I think, is the most Jeskai, where it's like the spell slinger kind of thing. And yeah, so that is something you'd want to consider when building this deck, because you could do so many different things with it. Anywho, 23 cents. And Alsha the Infinite, or of the Infinite. Okay, here's our first monk. Has, again, prowess. Most monks have prowess, and it's every time you cast a spell, they get +1/+1 until end of turn. So in spell slinger decks, or like if you're doing like a cantrip thing, where you're just casting, these can get huge in one turn, right? The downside is that it all disappears at the end of turn. So yeah, you kind of get it in waves, but anyway. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may cast non-creature spells from the top of your library. If you cast this another way, you may cast it though it had flash. Oh, if you cast this spell this way, you may cast as though it had flash. So basically, your sorceries get flash if they're on top of your library, is what it means. Instants always basically have flash. Like flash is the instant speed, but yeah. It is a nice little bonus anyway, 99 cents. Soulfire Grandmaster, this is 1 and a white for a 2/2. And yeah, instant sorcery spells you control have lifelink. Just a, no. Any kind of direct damage spell is going to give you lifelink as well. just a really awesome ability to have. And yeah, the next time you cast an instant sorcery spell from your hand this turn, put that card into your hand instead of into your library as it resolves. This does cost 4, but instead of it going to your library, just go straight back to your hand. And also, it does not require tapping, so you can just keep doing this. So if you have some kind of cost reduction or something to use with this, you can probably just keep putting the spells back into your hand rather than actually losing them. And yeah, that is very abusable. And finally, Ojutai exemplars. I feel like I'm saying it wrong. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, choose one. So this is all about the spell slinger, right? Tap target creature, gains first strike and lifelink until end of turn, or exile them, return to the battlefield under their owner's control. So you can just keep pumping out different spells, and whatever you want, you choose it, right? The tap target creature may not sound that impressive, but you can tap down someone's board pretty quick if you've got enough cantrips. You can do that. This is like almost adding an extra card to your card. 149 for that one. Number 1. Oh, please hit like and subscribe. It really does help. River Song. I feel like people might not like this choice, but I stand by it. Card Manipulation Commander. The card manipulation commanders that like actually change kind of how primary rules work in the game are extremely powerful. Okay? Draw from the bottom of your deck. So instead of the top, you're going from the bottom. Allows you to abuse many effects that are designed as limitations on some cards. So again, there are cards where you have to put the card at the bottom of your deck, and that's kind of almost seemed like it being worse than in your graveyard, because unless you have a tutor effect to get it back out, it's probably just out of the game, right? Unless you're going to go through your whole deck and then draw that card and then somehow put all your cards back so you don't lose the game after that. Anyway, it's very, very abusable, is my point. Spell Crumple. Counter target spell. If that spell is countered that way, put it on the bottom of its owner's library instead of in that player's graveyard. Put Spell Crumple on the bottom of its owner's library. Okay, the main thing that makes this good is that it's a counter spell that just goes back to the bottom of your library, right? So the next card you draw is your counter spell. You're just going to keep drawing your counter spell every turn over and over and over. Oh boy. I know all of these are blue and it's supposed to be the red list, but I tried, okay? Whenever Transplant Theorist or another artifact enters the battlefield under your control, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. Once again, Transplant Theorist. So this is kind of adding an artifact sub-theme to the deck. You're always going to have artifacts, so I think it's not really something you're ever going to be like, oh, I wish I hadn't done that. It's always going to be somewhat useful. How useful it is in your deck kind of depends. And again, it's just another artifact enters the battlefield. It doesn't say non-token or anything like that. So if you're doing like a clue sub-theme with this as well, that gets carried away very quickly. And put target card from your graveyard on the bottom of your library for 2 mana. That's the crazy thing about this card, right? Anything that does go to your graveyard, you could just go like, okay, I'll put it on the bottom of my library. Next card draw, you draw that card. It's always getting whatever you want. Your graveyard is almost like a scry effect at that point. Anyway, Time Stream Navigator. For 2 and a blue and tap, put Time Stream Navigator on the bottom of its owner's library. Take an extra turn after this one. Activate only if you have the City's Blessing. Okay, the City's Blessing is 10 or more permanents. You don't have to get very far into the game before you have 10 or more permanents. it does come up pretty quick. Without really even focusing on it, I think it's a condition you can fulfill without really going out of your way to like do it. Remember, your lands are permanent, so even if you have like 5 lands, that's halfway. Yeah, and anyway, so she goes to the bottom of your library. At the beginning of the next turn, you draw her again. You do, I guess you would need some kind of haste effect or something like that, but yeah. Tap back to the bottom of your library, draw again, play, tap, bottom of the library. Yeah, so all that she really needs for like kind of just almost giving you infinite turns is some kind of haste effect. Anyway, 99 cents for that one. And as I said, 35 is the magic number today. Spell Crumple, 35. Transform Theorist, 35. Time String Navigator, not 35, 99. The list. Balluna Grand Squall, 17 cents. Yusri Fortune's Flame, 11 cents. Ryu Storm's Edge is 99 cents. The Archimandrake is 23 cents. And River Song is 12 cents. I really feel like I'm going to get some comments about River Song, and I'm sticking by that one. I really thought about that, and I think that's a good call right there. Anyway, I'm probably going to do budget deck on that actually. Take it easy. Okay, take it easy.
Take it easy. Don't starve.
Don't Starve is his favorite game. Yeah.
Don't starve. Take it easy.
Don't Starve, take it easy. Okay.